Hey folks, how you all doing? Lloyd here, or Mr. Hats. Today is the second part of my David Bowie albums ranking series. Go and look at the first part if you haven't seen it. The first part is his first 12 studio albums, so 1969's David Bowie / Space Oddity album through to 1979's Lodger. This video concentrates on the period from 1980's Scary Monsters and Super Creeps through to 2016's Blackstar. I'm not going to include any movie soundtracks or the two Tin Machine albums, just the David Bowie albums from that period, and that's 12 studio albums. You're going to disagree with some of my stuff, and you're probably going to agree with some of it as well, because David Bowie is one of those artists that there's a sound for everyone, there's an album for everyone, and what some people love, which you'll find if you watch a lot of VC videos, is not what other people love. That is very black and white David Bowie. So that's the way it is. This is just my list, how I rate these albums. So off we go. So at number 12 on my list, I've got Never Let Me Down. Three very good singles on this one, In Time Will Crawl, Day In Day Out, and the title track, but that's about it. I really don't like any other song on this album, and this was the album that I switched off for a long while. Heathen was the next album for me that I purchased after this one, so it was a huge break, and I went back to his other stuff later on. This album comes in at a lowly 2 out of 10 for me. Next on my list, we go to Tonight at number 11. Look, let's face it, Let's Dance was always going to be a hard act to follow, regardless of who the artist was. You have a multi-platinum selling album with mega platinum selling hits all around the world. Your follow-up is always going to be on a hide into nothing. And it's the same with David Bowie. That said, even after all these years, I still don't like this album. It hasn't grown on me at all. God Only Knows, the cover of the Beach Boys classic on here, has got to be up there with the worst cover versions of any cover in the history of rock and roll, in my opinion. Absolutely abysmal. I do love Blue Jean. That's one of my, that would certainly be a top 3 or 4 single of his entire career for me, and I like a couple of others off the album, but that's about it. Don't like anything else. 3 out of 10, sorry. Next up at number 10, I've got Black Tie, White Noise. There's something missing here on this album, and I just can't put my finger on what the heck it is. It's just something that irks and niggles me about it. I just don't know. It sounds similar in style to me as the Scary Monsters album in a lot of respects, and yet that's one of my favourite albums of all time by anyone, and yet this one I just don't enjoy it, and I don't know why. There's, I don't know, 3 or 4 good songs on here, but there's just something about it. It just irks me because I just can never put my finger on it. 4.5 out of 10. Number 9 on my list. Oh, it's all out of order here. Damn you. There we go. Number 9 on my list. This could and should be a lot higher, but I just couldn't put it any higher, sadly. We go to Let's Dance. That's number 9. This is his pop album. This is the sellout album, the commercial album, etc., whatever you want to call it. This took him to the heights of a global superstar. It's pretty hard to knock this album for that fact that he just touched bases on every level in every country in the world with this album. He wanted a global hit album. He got it. He wanted multi-platinum singles. He achieved them. Very, very good album. I mean, who doesn't love Modern Love, his cover of China Girl, and Let's Dance? The full 7.5 minute version of Let's Dance on this album is absolutely brilliant. It's just a really, really good album. The only thing I don't like on here is Shake It, which is the close closing track, and Ricochet is a little bit iffy, but the rest of the album is still really, really good. This one comes in at 7.8 out of 10. So there's 3 albums I didn't like. This album I like, and every other album from here on in I love. So don't criticise me too much. Number 8 on my list, we're going to go to Outside or One Outside. Some hints of industrial music on here, some which would form the foundation of the follow-up album Earthling. There's also hints of the avant-garde jazz fusion that you hear little bits on The Next Day, but primarily on the Blackstar album. It's a solid album, but it suffers a bit at 75 minutes long and about 19 tracks. They could quite easily have just culled a few tracks. There's nothing wrong with any of the tracks. I love the album, but it's just too long to listen to in one sitting, in my opinion. That's just what lets that down. It comes in at 8 out of 10 regardless. Number 7 on my list, we're going to go to Reality. This is a decent rock album, actually. It's the third in a quartet of albums dealing with aging and reflection of life and family. There's 2 covers on here also, but they actually fit in well with the sound of the album. Really, really good stuff. 9 out of 10. Next up, we're going to number 6. We have Hours. This is the first in a Mr. Hats named Reflections foursome, where his next 4 albums up to the end of Next Day are dealing with looking back on life, coming to terms with aging, mortality, grandkids, etc. It's just 4 albums in a row which primarily deal with this subject. It's a straightforward introspective album with some really heartfelt lyrics. A lot of fans don't like this album. I think it's absolutely brilliant. 9.5 out of 10. Shows you how good all these albums are. We've still got 5 to go and we're up to 9.5 out of 10. Next up, number 5, I've got Heathen, the second of the Reflections foursome quartet, which I call them. Again, it's about life, worry, hope, fears. I guess this was recorded sort of within 12 months of the whole 9/11 thing. Bowie is living in New York, in the Hamptons, etc. And just the whole aftermath of 9/11 could have played a bit of subconsciously or unconscious into the vibe of this album as well, with his fear of the future, fear of what his kids, grandkids are gonna have to live with, deal with, but it's still dealing with day-to-day aging, mortality, etc. Another late career work of genius from David Bowie, in my opinion, and 9.5 out of 10 also. Number 4 on my list, we're going to go to The Next Day. He seems to have come to terms with the whole aging concept of his previous 3 albums, and he just appears more to be embracing old age with this album. Like he's come to terms with life, love, hope, fears, etc. on the last 3 albums, and this one's okay. So I'm old now. That's the way it is. He's just seems like he's glad he's just finally got there. The downside of the album is the cover art. I really don't understand it. You got heroes behind it and then that white square with The Next Day. I just can't figure out the cryptic message behind the cover. So if anyone is watching this and knows or understands what the cover is, let me know in the comments section, because I would really love to know that way I can piece it all together. Still a great album. 9.5 out of 10. Number 3 on my list. This is going to surprise a hell of a lot of people. A lot of fans don't like this album, or they put it fairly low in lists. I've got Earthling. This is his industrial drum and bass electronic dance album. Think Prodigy if you want to know what this album sounds like. It's just a fabulous album as he takes on all the influences from that whole industrial drum and bass theme, Prodigy, etc. And he reinvents it like he reinvents the wheel and comes out with a unique David Bowie style. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. 9.5 out of 10. At number 2 on my list, we're going to go to Blackstar. His swan song, his funeral pyre, and yes, the flames got higher. A morbid album for the most part. It's ominous, dark jazz fusion music. It's foreboding lyrics. David Bowie basically turns death into an art on this album. I remember when first heard Lazarus and saw that on the music shows, thinking, oh my god, this is absolutely morbid, this is horrible. And then of course the Blackstar video come out, and that was about 10 minutes long, and it's like, Jesus, what's he thinking of? This is so depressing. And then the album comes out, I hear the album, and it's like, Jesus, this is music to slit your wrist by or slit your throat by. It's really bad. And anyway, I thought, well, I've always liked his other stuff as well, especially his last 4 or 5 albums. I'll go and get it. And it was actually the day he died, and I wasn't aware he'd died. I'd finished work early, go to the record shop, and Temley, his name is, he was in there, asked me how I was doing, etc., because I've known him for a long time. I said, oh, you got the new David Bowie album in? He said, I know why you're buying that. I went, well, you know, I'm a fan, I'm buying it, it's David Bowie. He goes, come on, piss off, you're only buying it because he's dead. I'm like, no, that's not funny, mate, that's really not funny. He goes, no, seriously, David Bowie is dead, we've just got the news through, blah blah blah. And my mouth just dropped and hit the floor. I couldn't believe it. And yeah, so that's my whole memory of buying this album. I found out he'd died the minute I was basically purchasing it. So yeah, and after that I didn't listen to it for probably 6 months. I just couldn't listen to it. And then when I picked it up and listened to it, it was like, yeah, I get it. I get the whole concept of the album now. He was, you know, he's turned his death into an art. So that's the story behind me and that album. This album, 9.6 out of 10. Which leaves one album. Fans are going to know exactly what album we have here. We have Scary Monsters and Super Creeps, post new wave, post punk. It's Talking Heads on steroids, basically. It's almost commercial and radio friendly, yet remains on the periphery of mainstream rock. So it's one foot in the commercial zone and one foot out, just like Talking Heads, but it is Talking Heads on steroids. Just incredible. My second favourite album of his entire career. Was the first one I actually purchased with my own money. I mentioned in the other video that my parents bought me Lodger the Christmas before, and I fell in love with it. And of course the next year he's released this. I purchased it with my own money, absolutely loved it. And those two albums, Lodger and this one, are just neck and neck for my favourite album by David Bowie of all time. Currently this one sits at number 2 for me, and Lodger is number 1. But had I done this video next month, I could say this is my number 1 album and Lodger's my second favourite. Both albums come out with the same score of 9.8. Just absolute perfection in my opinion. Anyway guys, that's my 2 video countdown of the David Bowie studio albums discography. Oh, if I'd have done the Buddha of Suburbia, that would have come in the top 10 for sure. Had I've done the 2 Tin Machine albums, they would have ended up top 5 for me as well. So just letting you know that, not that they're irrelevant for this video, but just letting you know, just in case you're curious. Anyway guys, leave your comments in the comments section below. What do you think of all these albums, etc, etc. Till next time guys, stay safe, take care, all for now, catch you around, and bye folks.